Introduction. The 30 Years' War was a religious conflict that took place in Central Europe during the 17th century. It is considered one of the longest and most brutal wars in history, resulting in over 8 million casualties from military battles, famine, and disease. It began as a dispute between Catholic and Protestant states within the Holy Roman Empire, but later became a struggle for European governance. The war ultimately transformed the geopolitical landscape of Europe and impacted the role of religion and nation-states in society. Causes. The religious tensions between Catholics and Protestants in the Holy Roman Empire were reignited when Emperor Ferdinand II took the throne in 1619 and demanded that citizens adhere to Roman Catholicism. This violated the Peace of Augsburg, which had granted religious freedom. For over 60 years, the peace had calmed tensions, but there had been occasional flare-ups. The Holy Roman Empire was a collection of semi-autonomous states, and the emperor had limited authority over their governance. The defenestration of Prague in 1618, when Bohemian nobility threw Ferdinand's representatives out of a window at Prague Castle, sparked open revolt in Bohemia and began the 30 Years' War. Bohemian Revolt. The northern Bohemian states of the Holy Roman Empire, which were predominantly Protestant, sought to break away in response to Ferdinand II's decision to remove their religious freedom. This led to the Bohemian Revolt, which marked the beginning of the 30 Years' War in 1618. The Bohemian nobility formed alliances with the Protestant Union states in Germany, while Ferdinand II turned to his Catholic nephew, King Philip IV of Spain. The conflict quickly spread, with armies from both sides engaging in brutal warfare on multiple fronts. In addition to present-day Austria, fighting also took place in Transylvania, where the Ottoman Empire fought alongside the Bohemians against the Poles, who supported the Habsburgs. Catholic League victories. The Spanish army, along with the Catholic League consisting of nation-states in present-day Germany, Belgium, and France, supported Ferdinand II. His forces initially quelled the rebellion in the east and northern Austria, leading to the dissolution of the Protestant Union. However, fighting continued to the west, where King Christian IV of Denmark-Norway supported the Protestant states. Despite help from Scottish soldiers, the armies of Denmark-Norway were defeated by Ferdinand II's forces, leading to the emperor's control over much of northern Europe. Gustavus Adolphus. Sweden, led by Gustavus Adolphus, joined the fight on the side of the northern Protestants in 1630. The Swedish army helped to push back Catholic forces and regain territory lost by the Protestant Union. Protestant victories continued with Swedish support. However, when Gustavus Adolphus was killed in the Battle of Lutzen in 1632, the Swedes lost some of their resolve. Bohemian nobleman Albrecht von Wallenstein provided military assistance to Ferdinand II and his army of about 50,000 soldiers. In exchange, he was given the freedom to plunder any captured territory. Wallenstein began to respond, and by 1635, the Swedes were defeated. The resulting Peace of Prague protected the territories of Lutheran, Calvinist rulers in northeastern Germany but not those of the south and west in present-day Austria and the Czech Republic, leading to continued fighting due to high tensions in those regions. French involvement. The French, though Catholic, were rivals of the Habsburgs and were unhappy with the provisions of the Peace of Prague. Thus, the French entered the conflict in 1635. However, at least initially, their armies were unable to make inroads against the forces of Ferdinand II, even after he died of old age in 1637. Meanwhile, Spain, fighting at the behest of the emperor's successor and son, Ferdinand III, and later under Leopold I, mounted counterattacks and invaded French territory, threatening Paris in 1636. However, the French recovered, and fighting between the French Protestant alliance and the forces of Spain and the Holy Roman Empire were at a stalemate for the next several years. In 1640, the Portuguese began to revolt against their Spanish rulers, thereby weakening their military efforts on behalf of the Holy Roman Empire. 2 years later, the Swedes re-entered the fray, further weakening Habsburg forces. Important shift. In 1643, the ongoing conflict took a significant turn as Denmark-Norway joined the Habsburgs and the Holy Roman Empire against the Protestants. This was also the year when French monarch Louis XIII passed away, leaving his young son Louis XIV to inherit the throne, creating instability in Paris. Over the next few years, the French army had both victories and defeats in the war. They suffered a major defeat at the Battle of Herbsthausen in 1645. In the same year, the Swedes launched an attack on Vienna but were unsuccessful in capturing it from the Holy Roman Empire. Prague Castle captured. In 1647, the forces of the Habsburg Empire led by Octavio Piccolomini successfully pushed back the Swedes and the French from Austria. The following year, the Battle of Prague was fought, with the Swedes capturing Prague Castle but unable to take the majority of the city. This marked the last major conflict of the 30 Years' War, with the Habsburgs retaining control only over their Austrian territories by this time. Peace of Westphalia. In 1648, the Peace of Westphalia was signed, marking the end of the 30 Years' War. The peace agreement had a significant impact on Europe's geopolitical landscape. Spain, for example, lost its control over Portugal and the Dutch Republic due to its weakened state from the conflict. The accords also granted more independence to the former states of the Holy Roman Empire, located in German-speaking Central Europe. The legacy. Historians believe that the Peace of Westphalia, signed in 1648 to end the 30 Years' War, laid the groundwork for the modern nation-state. This established fixed boundaries for countries involved in the fighting, which led to reduced influence over political affairs for religious groups and a shift in the balance of power in Europe. The war resulted in hundreds of thousands of deaths from famine and disease, and is also believed to have been the starting point of European witch hunts. The conflict caused increased distrust among those of different ethnicities and religious faiths, which still persists today to some extent.